Alright, so I was gonna wait till like midnight properly to do this, but I am dead tired and I kind of want this over as quick as I can. That doesn't mean I'm gonna like not give this its fair dues or like treat this not like I would with the other stuff, but I'm just like real tired. Can y'all hear my voice? I'm tired, man. I'm, ex I'm exhausted. I didn't even do all the stuff I wanted to do today. But I did post another Kingdoms video, Darkest Dungeon, so that was pretty cool. I guess. I don't know. Jesus Christ, I'm tired. Last video of this caliber was like a week ago. As I sip some water. I might gotta figure out like a proper schedule for like making this stuff that actually takes time, right? As opposed to just banging out a gameplay video or two. I gotta figure out when I'll want to do this stuff. My running theory is like Thursday through Saturday. I might record one. I'm thinking around those days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I might record it, and I'll usually go the day up. Usually go up the day after around noon. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these more frequently. Keep in mind I got college classes, so I gotta put YouTube on the back burner. But if there's an idea that I really like, I'll jump forward and do that whenever I finish the notes for it. So what I'm really saying is give me video suggestions, and because like if you don't like my current ideas for my upload schedule, air quotes, if you don't like that, like every week, one at least, at most two, of videos like these being made, give me video topic ideas and I can make more. Also because I'm running out of ideas. This is the last one I have on the list. Maybe I'll think of one during class. I wouldn't bet on it. But we're gonna talk about win-loss conditions in stories. This is more like plot stuff, right? As opposed to characters or enemies and other stuff I've done previously. Or even like genres like post-apocalypse and steampunk. So I don't know how well I'll be able to do. Fuck me. I don't know how well I'll be able to do this, given that it's like more in line with that pacing video I did, which I'm still kind of proud of. I'm also very out of it and mildly sick, so that might color or whatever the fuck I'm gonna say tonight. If it gets weird, I'm blaming you guys. There's like no real justifiable reason why I would blame you guys, but I would do it anyway. So we're gonna be talking about the penis. This is that Beavis and Butthead clip. We're gonna be talking about win-loss conditions and stories. Your first thought is jumping to combat more than also you can read the description and see what points I'm gonna talk about, like I do with all of these videos practically. There's like 7 total that don't follow that structure, but majority of these stuff will I type stuff in the descriptions more than like links or anything, because I don't got no links to promote. Um, you can like take a peek to see what I'm gonna talk about ahead of time. When do you think of win-loss conditions for your stories? The first thing that comes to mind is like, oh yeah, win-loss conditions for fighting, for combat. Dying is a pretty big loss condition. You lost the condition of life and all that. But as a yawn, but as I say, there's a lot more to what represents a win-loss condition than simply being like losing a fight. Of course, as I fight off a bit of nausea, of course, I'm gonna bring up fighting because combat is fighting, combat action, whatever you want to call it. is a pretty big part of just about any plot, story, video game, movie, TV show, whatever. But keep in mind that there's a lot more times you can have a unique win condition or a unique loss condition beyond just in a fight. So I guess we can start getting into it uh, with the simple one of stakes. I mean, sure, combat is also the simplest one, but stakes is something I'm going to keep coming back to, so let's start with stakes. So, what do I mean by the stakes for your win-loss condition? To understand what I have to gain or lose via any encounter I take part in, I need to understand what I can win or lose. The stakes, obviously. When I say hit me in blackjack, I know what I stand to win and what I stand to lose, that being a fuck ton of money, right? I also know how much quote unquote fuck ton is. Could be just playing with fun for friends, and the only thing really at stake is losing the game and then having to wait until everyone's out until like you get the one winner and you can go again. Or am I actually betting real life money? And if so, how many amounts? Low buy-ins and then high buy-ins and all that sort of thing. The point I'm trying to make here is that although it's the same game, blackjack, depending on the situation at hand, I am risking or potentially getting different amounts, right? Say for combat that you're having a fist fight. Your main character is like having a fist fight. The risks are significantly different between a sparring match, between a boxing match, between a drunken brawl, and like facing a villain or even the overarching villain, right? In every situation, it is the same thing, a fist fight. Yet what they potentially lose increases. The first one is just like, okay, they lost, maybe a little bit of hurt pride, was nothing big. And with the boxing match, it's like a significant thing. Maybe there's a prize money that they lost out on, maybe like renown that they lost out on, and then you get more and more dangerous up to the potential loss of life. And then obviously the what you win grows as well. But in the situations I provided you so far, it's equal in terms of what you can win or lose. Sometimes winning is just keeping the status quo, right? That is usually what you'll get in terms of combat oriented win-loss conditions. But there's times where you have to save face, right? We're going into reputation later. There's times where you have to save face. Obviously, the loss condition would be being humiliated, being looked down upon, things like that. But in this case, again, because you're saving face, the win condition is nothing changing, as opposed to gaining more renown. Because keep in mind, sometimes, as I sip water, what you win and what you lose are completely different. Say your main character is given, like, it's, please don't do this, it's so stupid and no one will like it. Say your main character is greeted by some fucking stranger and they have a coin and they flip it and they go, hey, if it's tails, I'll give you $10,000. If it's heads, I'm leaving. And then they flip the coin and then it's tails. I'm like, oh, hey, you got however money I just said. And then they leave. In this situation, obviously, they stood to win a whole hell of a lot more than they lost. They lost fucking nothing because they didn't get shit if they lost. I mean, you could argue they lost the $50,000, but I argue they never fucking had it in the first place. So how could you lose something that wasn't yours? Uh, Jesus Christ, my throat feels awful. Like I said, mildly sick. This isn't fun. Keep in mind when you're writing what is good for your plot, what's good for your character growth, what's good for the next story arc. If it's for tabletop, what do your players want? What do you as the DM want to give your players? Stuff like that. But just keep in mind to establish clearly what the stakes are so that way your audience, your players, whatever, understand what's happening. Because the last thing you want to happen is your readers being like, wait, what the fuck? Why did that happen? Usually, anyway. Believe it or not, it's a bad idea to confuse the people who are here to engage with the story. What? Who could have guessed that? Hey, don't you take that fucking tone with me. All right. Uh, but please do do it clearly and simply. Obviously, there's exceptions, right? Like if your villain's an asshole who talks in poems all the time and I don't like them because I feel like they're smug, whether or not they actually are smug is different than how whether or not I feel like they are, but it's fucking weird. Point being, establish them early and well because that also helps you frame the situation at hand. If you go into it, if you go into what's the I fucking stun locked myself. If you go into it not knowing the stakes, it may make it harder for you to write the scene. If you go into it knowing this is going to be a high stakes situation, then you're going to maybe focus on things a bit more. Your tone will be different, your diction will be different. The descriptors are going to be different more than likely than if you go into it knowing that it will be lower stakes. It might make it more lighthearted. You might you definitely probably wow great fucking you're more than likely going to have a different word choice than if you were going to do it seriously. As such, if you go into it not really knowing if this is going to be a higher risk scene or not, then that may be bad for you as the writer. Because you might want to use this as a little guideline for yourself, the stakes. So not only is it good for your audience, but it's good for you, the author, just so you can really hold yourself accountable and go, this is going to be this kind of scene. I know this because this is what's at stake. Because this is what's at stake, this is how the characters react, both the protagonist and antagonist for the scene. And from there you can go and then you can workshop and you can do drafts because the first time you do something is always going to be the greatest. Except, unless you're me, in which case the first time I do anything, it's always the greatest thing I've ever done. And if you say otherwise, I will cry, and it will be very uncomfortable for you, and I won't give a shit. So it'll be pretty cool for me. See, that's an example of differing stakes. I lose reputation, man. I didn't have none of that shit in the first place, and you look like an asshole in public who made me cry, and this is really awkward, and everybody's looking at you. Well, they're looking at me, but they're looking at you because you made that happen. Let's move on now, and let's. I'm yawning. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. So, in the description, you'll notice a few of these kind of have some overlap. Combat has overlap with safety and money and, death and more than death. This is because a lot of shit has overlap, and if you complain about it, you're a bitch. Nobody's complained about it so far, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Again, I do these sober, not that you'd be able to really tell how fucking confused and dazed I am right now. I should have eaten more fucking potatoes. They were really good. Like sure they were just boiled, but they were salted and peppered and covered in cheese and butter, and that was really good. And I want more of that. But it's already 12:12, so I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to eat some. Probably around 12 in the afternoon. So combat. Your brain jumps to this first because it's the one we think about the most. We like action in stories. I like action in stories. Given what's popular in the box office or Netflix or wherever the hell you check what's popular in anime and manga, action is one of the consistently most popular genres for obvious reasons. So, how do we give good and proper win-loss conditions for combat? Now, if you've been following with the other stuff I've done on this channel, you will have watched my Darkest Dungeon 2 content. You will have then, hopefully, started watching my Darkest Dungeon 2 Kingdoms content. You will then, therefore, be aware of the in-siege mechanic. This is, if you haven't been aware, or cannot infer based on the name a mechanic where certain sieges, basically consider them like points of interest, are certain inns rather, points of interest, are being sieged by enemies. You have a set amount of time to go there to defend it, and if you do not defend it in time, or if you fail to defend it, i.e. all your heroes or conscripts die, the inn will be destroyed for the duration of the run, and you can only have a certain amount of inns destroyed before your campaign ends on a loss. Obviously, losing inns is bad for a multitude of reasons. I believe everybody gets some stress. I think a little bit of fatigue. You lose permanently a location with an inn where you can, get better fatigue and stress and health heal and have access to like the Wainwrights and stuff like that. Point is, that's a combat-oriented plot point. You're fighting off whatever the villain of the module is, Beast Clan, Coven, or they called the Courtiers or they called the Bloodsuckers. Let's go to Steam. Let's go to Library. Let's go to Darkest Dungeon 2. Let's see here. Curse of the Court. Yeah. Be it the Beast Clan, be it the... Oh, I don't have... Why do I not have the Plague Doctor trading card? What the hell? How do you get trading cards on Steam? Oh, there's a thing right there. Oh, they just drop as you play? Oh, that's okay. I really want the... Yeah, I got the Highwayman one. Is there a Crusader one? No, it just looks like it's the base characters and the DLC ones. Sorry, I distracted myself very heavily. Um, so obviously that's a good example of a combat situation where the stakes are go beyond just did I kill the enemy, and it's instead did I successfully maintain this point of interest from being attacked. That's another situation where the risks and rewards are very different. The reward you get is status quo, and of course you do get a little bit of golden relics and stuff like that, or golden baubles, and stuff like, because it's a game, so then obviously, the stuff you get as rewards in games compared to other media will be different. But it's not like the rewards are like uber significant, really. What the fuck? What? That's another situation where the risks and rewards are significantly different. The rewards you get is some meager payout and keeping status quo. The risk is having a permanent debuff practically, in essence, not a literal debuff, an in essence debuff for the duration of your campaign, as you now have one less point of interest that could assist you throughout the course of your run. So that's an example of a win-loss condition stacked against you. What's an example of a win-loss condition stacked towards you? Well, and the obvious answer that comes to mind is the inverse. Say your main character is the one doing the sieging on potentially a bandit outpost. Granted, they wouldn't really be a bandit outpost, and it's more like a brigand like clan, because bandits doesn't imply organization, whereas brigands do in my mind, or consider it like a mob thing. Uh, either way, your main character, parentheses s close parentheses, are besieging a point of interest for the antagonist force, antagonist faction, whatever. What they have to gain is significant, lessening the threat of the antagonist in this little spot of the region, right? That could potentially allow them to get a foothold into the area to strengthen their influence in a positive way, while also reducing the amount of people who can perform operations for the antagonist faction. Right, it's pretty obvious like what the benefits and risks are. And of course the risk is just like, losing, right? Usually death, because stories stakes are usually pretty high. Right, like in fantasy, enemies aren't usually pulling their punches. That, well, fucking whatever. I was about to say, well, actually, there are exceptions. I was like, well, you fucking know that anyway. Everything has exceptions. It's the exception that proves the rule is a saying for a reason. But every time I say that around people, everybody acts like I made that up. That's a real saying, right? Please answer me. Is that real? I'm convinced that's like a real thing, people. I don't know anymore. I know I make shit up half the time, but that's because I don't know what the fuck it is that like what isn't me. Like I don't know. That's a good way of saying it. I get confused easily, as you could tell by me just getting confused right now. I'll have to read that later. I saw something updated. Have I got any new comments? I got some comments today on my three thing. That's pretty cool. That made me happy. I get happy when I get responses on things. Makes me feel accomplished. Check my fucking channel. It's been like a month or something. Which one won on that poll I put out? Nutrient block won. That's fucked up. I would like Pace to win. I got distracted again. Um, so that's an example, right, where the stakes are stacked positively in the main character's side. If they succeed, obviously, they're always like, oh yeah, if you succeed, good things happen. No fucking shit. Other examples of a win-loss condition. Uh, in combat, capture, capturing a notable enemy, be it for prestige, much like the Aztecs did, where they would capture live enemies to bring them back as human sacrifice, or because someone's like, or in your story, because someone's like mind controlled or something, you got to bring them back alive so they can fix it. Character's a bounty hunter, despite how people may think of bounty hunters, their objective is usually to bring people back alive, mostly because that's a high reward. Maybe make characters sympathetic. Who knows? Another example is like there's a spy who needs to be like escorted out basically without blowing their cover. So you do an attack, right? Fuck shit up, and then that's when they double cross and then get out freely. Stuff like that, pretty much. A lot of different. So the trick here, I guess, before I confuse myself and get off topic again, the trick here is to just insert a side quest into the main quest. Is like a bonus. It's like Deep Rock Galactic. Mine 35 Holomite. Break 40 Glyphid eggs. Collect 12 gunk seeds. While you're also mining 600 Morkite. Or while you're also completing the on-site refinery. Or harvesting 6 alien eggs. Right? You see what I'm saying here? The easy, quick way to have unique or more interesting or more varied or more fun win-loss conditions in your story's fight scenes is by throwing in a second objective. Calling it a bonus objective, however, is misleading. It is not a bonus objective to prevent the inn from being destroyed. That is the objective that Cohen's. It's two objectives equally. One is not less than the other. It's not a side task, it is still the main task. You just have two now. Um, is there more I can say for this? Probably, but I don't know how to formulate it properly. Here's one for lower stakes situations. Win-loss condition for combat. Training someone else. Showing them giving them your weird tricks. My favorite weird trick is yelling grenade and throwing a rock or something. It always works because I write the story in it. I may say it always works. I think that's fun. Ugh. Is there more thing? Um, breaking someone's nose. I don't know. That seems like a cool fucking win condition. For dueling, right? This is a thing I shouldn't make note of because I just thought about it. Historically speaking, dueling was never okay. Don't use absolutes. Cheese underscore stick one. Absolutes are the enemy. Yes, I see. Absolutes are the enemy. That is an absolute. Damn. And I died because there was a paradox. Uh, Historically speaking, duels to the death were not at all very common. Duels were usually to first blood, or were a showmanship thing. Well, that was mostly a pistols duels thing, right? They wouldn't really shoot each other; they would shoot at each other to prove that they have the stones, because it was like dueling was to save face, not to prove a point. You duel because someone calls you a bitch, and everybody knows you're a bitch, but now you have to prove you're not, so you got to pick up a sword. But because killing a noble's like really fucking bad, and you killing a noble is really bad because now you're the guy that kills nobles as a noble. Like, this is something they're going to take advantage of in court politics. Killing is not the goal for dueling, or at least it wasn't, right? Back in, that's not how it really worked. Instead, duels were usually to first blood or to like exhaustion. If you're both wielding sabers, it was a lot of footwork, a lot of parrying, of course. Like, this is just how saber fighting goes. But whoever got the first cut pretty much won. This is also just true in fighting. If you get the first cut, especially if it's a nasty one, you're gonna win, right? Like, cutting a dude's arm in the duel pretty much cements your victory unless you fumble drastically. But also, again, you're not here to kill your opponent for like honor duels and stuff like that. So they would just duel until first blood. You could debate whether or not this made people fight harder or not. I say I don't think it made them fight harder. If you're going into a fight and you're not fighting as hard as you can, you keep fighting to lose and all that. But point is, that's another direction you can take combat. Is like whoever lands the first hit, you win. Or like hide and seek, right? Like manhunt, right? Like last 10 minutes, like the world's most dangerous game type shit, right? But like a real win condition. Like last 10 minutes being hunted by X amount of Ys in this forest, and you are the crowned the victor. Or have it be a speed trial, right? Like knock off these three wooden dummies from these posts while you're being fired at with arrows, and all you have is a buckler to protect yourself, and you win, right? Or basically just the Olympics. Just like end of point, just basically the Olympics. These are all fun win-loss conditions for something that could be more combat-oriented. I like that. I dropped my bottle cap. Give me a second. Where the hell did it go? Oh, I have a phone, right? Flashlight. I clicked. Why the fuck didn't... There we go. Where the fuck is this? Did it roll into my damn... There we are. And grab. While I'm down here, I can toss this in the little bag. There we are. I drink a lot of water. Capped. There you are. Oh, I feel nauseous. There we go. Sitting down helps, if you could believe it. Let's talk about dialogue now. Sorry, I drink more water. How the fuck do people like do this with cards? I have a deck of cards I've been playing around with my hands. How do they do that thing where they fold? Where they do the, you know? I want to learn how to bridge. That's what it's called. Hey, shit ass. Want to see me speed bridge? You guys remember that? Uh, Dialogue. So you may be thinking, cheese underscore stick one. What do you mean by a win-loss condition in dialogue? Well, here's a little sneak peek. The other points down here, such as reputation, information, and money and safety, are going to be brought up a lot for the both of these, and both of these as in combat and in dialogue. This is because that's just good ways to at a certain point I just marked down what win conditions I want to talk about, and that's how I ended up doing it. Um, Cheese underscore stick one. What do you mean by win conditions for dialogue? I thought dialogue is just conversing. How can you win at speaking? Reputation. It's a fickle thing, isn't it? That was not the greatest bridge ever. Do it. Practice again. These cards are folded. Old deck. It's just playing cards though, right? It's not like magic cards or nothing. That being said, if I got a Black Lotus, I'd fucking fold it in a heartbeat. Just see how mad people get. Oh, but it's worth so much money. I'm not selling it. I don't give a shit. Fuck it, I'll play with the card. I don't give a damn. I don't understand collectors. That's just a me thing, though. An example would be gaining information or your reputation. Say you're... Well, that's how they do it. Say you're an upstart, right? You're an upstart in the adventuring business. You need to make a name for yourself. Sure, you could go out and fight monsters and whatnot. But without anyone telling you to do that, frankly, you look like a fucking psycho. So, how do you get your foot in the door in the world of adventuring? By getting renown. How do you get renown if not by tackling foes? Well, it's... I don't think that one fucking shuffled at all. Well, it's simple, isn't it? By talking to people, by proving your worth to important figures, such as nobles, such as the guard, such as community leaders, such as your grandma who loves you dearly. I hope, hey, if you guys have a good relationship with your family, make sure to call them and stuff like that. It does good for the soul. I haven't recently, I don't know. Give it a go. I'm sure they miss you. If you have a bad relationship, I don't fucking know. Like, I can't help you with that. Thanks, I don't leave that. I'm not gonna chum with them right now. Win-loss conditions for dialogue is something like gaining reputation. So, either gaining or potentially, again, losing reputation with nothing much to gain. It depends on the situation at hand, depends on the setting, scenario, stuff like that. Uh, but let's work through it a little bit. Say your main character is a noble who needs a bit more rep after your absolutely fucking useless brother-in-law uh, had reportedly got a prostitute pregnant and then killed her to silence it, and then, months later everyone finds out shit like that. You need to look good quick. An easy way would be to denounce him, but doing that would probably get people to be like, okay, why do you denounce his actions now and not when they happened, which you surely would have known given the fact that you are related by marriage, sure, but you are related, and things like that. How do you go about bolstering your reputation? Because it is a lot more than just going, oh, what horrid actions. Well, hey, that's for you, the fucking author, to figure out, right? I don't really know. I don't write characters like that. Mostly because I don't write novels at all. Everybody is equally broke as shit and stuff I write usually. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure that's correct. If it's not, well, sorry guys, I lied to you about the stories I write that you don't read. I'm sure Why am I an asshole tonight? Is it just because I'm tired? What the fuck, man? Um, so how would one go about bolstering the reputation in a place like in a time like this with nothing more than dialogue? Usually by playing kiss ass to someone else, more importantly, but it's a trick to make it not obvious that's what you're doing. Don't want to ride someone's coattails, you want to stand tall next to them as an equal, but secretly you're better. How is this done? Well, nobles are a lot more than pomp and talk. They actually have resources to back themselves up. A good situation, a good way, I don't know what the fuck I keep defaulting situation, is hosting or attending various social gatherings, being a prominent figure, acting as though it what happened has no effect on you because you are in this situation actually innocent for once, and instead still furthering connections, conversations, etc. with other important esteemed guests. By putting on airs, you make yourself still seem regal or whatever, but still make yourself seem powerful, like someone of notoriety, things like that. Giving yourself a little bit of much needed reputation in this time. What's another example? Information. This is something spies do, I think. I don't know. I didn't really care about spies and like combat roles and history and stuff like that. It's not really my thing. Point is, how do you dig for information? What is the right time to disclose information you may or may not have? What is the perfect time to allude to having information you just straight up don't have? When's the right time to lie to people? Now, the good Catholic answer of me being a good Catholic would be never. But I'm not the greatest Catholic, to be honest with you. When's the right time to lie? Most times. I think that's true. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, man. uh, but in terms of win-loss conditions for information gathering through via dialogue, set up the stakes early, right? Establish them. Oh wow, that was almost puked twice. Um, establish early the stakes. Is your main character trying to probe for information, trying to prevent the leakage of information, confirming whether or not someone does know something, or planting seeds of doubt in someone's mind, or planting fake evidence onto someone's mind, but they're kind of suspicious right now? First, get that established well and easy. Clear cut, so that you know a good framework to structure how you're going to take the scene. From there, it's a simple matter of writing the scene out, which is actually not that very simple at all. In fact, it's quite complex. Apartment complex, I think it's quite simple. Keep in mind when you're writing dialogue, dialogue is indeed more than just the words they say. It's the way they say it. It's how they say it. Saying thank you and saying thank you is very differently. For one, I said it through clenched teeth, which is how you should describe that. Describe like, oh yeah, the strain in their voice. Describe what are they doing? Are they moving their hands right now? Are they reaching for a drink? Are they constantly looking, like shooting glances over to the door, keeping an eye on it for whatever reason? It's a good way to say and imply things without ever needing to directly state it. It's one thing to say that the character's constantly uh, shifting the rings on their fingers, clearing their throat, and sipping water like a fish, right? As opposed to just saying they looked suspicious. Granted, part of this is like, hey, I like adding purple to prose to stories, but that's a fun way to like imply things that you can either then take advantage of or then subvert, depending on what you need from the scene. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'm gonna pause and be back. While I got up, I saw that your like music recap on YouTube is out, the June August one. Kind of funny. One of the songs on here is Bella Ciao, the Italian anti-fascist song. That's kind of cool. It's a good song. I was about to start singing it, but I would have made many Italians upset. I like your language. I like it more than I like Portuguese. Anyway, I can understand it better than fucking Portuguese. How is it so similar but so goddamn different? It gives me a headache trying to listen to it. Not Italian. To clarify, I was talking about Portuguese. Do you Italians feel the same way? I don't know. I'm not fucking Italian. I don't even barely speak it. It's just a Romance language, so that's how I can understand. I speak Spanish, if you were curious. I understand more than I speak. I'm Mexican, if you didn't know. Do I sound it? I don't really know. There's some information and dialogues and stuff. Part of the win-loss condition for dialogue, whatever it may be, is making sure your main character is playing their role in the conversation as they require. I was about to say dominating the conversation, but then I realized sometimes it may not be what you want. Sometimes you want them to only interject when they think they need to encourage someone to talk about X thing or whatever, etc. The point is, um, what was the point? Fuck, what was the point? Silence, then gotta play the role in the conversation. Right. Point is, use your stakes to guide the scene. It's a really useful trick that you're gonna want to get used to using. And it may sound like, oh, that's like I'm putting the fate of my story into something else. Uh that's a bad thing to do as a writer. There's no fucking true at all, man. Half of writing is just finding excuses for stuff, and the other half is dressing it up pretty. Who cares? Who cares if you have a guideline to follow? You should care. You should have a guideline to follow. Get a little skeleton plot and whatnot. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought bad here. Let's talk about companions. Now, what do I mean by win-loss for companions? Something, something, affinity system, Darkest Dungeon, fuck yeah! No, it's actually not what I'm thinking of right now. Something, something, visual novel. Yeah, the points you get with the love interests and stuff. Now, to actually explain whatever the fuck I just said, companions are still entire people within their own right. Secondary characters are still characters that have thoughts and opinions that may clash and differ with the main character's thoughts and opinions. As such, you see that pretty often in a bunch of media, for better or for worse. I think for worse, because it's never really done super well. Where the main character and like side characters are so fundamentally different that it makes you wonder why they're still sticking with each other. This is usually coming to play with anti-heroes, and I don't really like anti-heroes for that factor. But they usually clash pretty hard with the tones and themes and main character and stuff that it feels like the author thought they were really smart, but it just made me hate the scenes with this character in it. Point I'm saying as I yawn. Why does my arm feel numb? Oh, the blood's cutting off, that's why. Um, Point is, what do I mean by win-loss conditions for companions? Getting or losing them. I feel like that should be a little self-explanatory, but I'll continue to explain anyway. I'm sure you guys love the sound of my voice, especially when I'm so fucking exhausted and genuinely like I can't, like my sinuses feel bad, man. It's because the college classes start up again, I think. You know how it goes when like everybody's coming in and out of the soil again and melt and like grouped up all together. You're gonna get some people are gonna get sick because this is what ends up happening. Oh, that really go. Oh, hey, that guy's online. That's cool. My nose, ah. Yeah, more than fucking sick. So, and it's not always going to be something so extreme as they completely leave your party or like become a villain or something like that, or that they're going to join you. But instead, it could be if you're coming back to this specific town or location pretty often, then you may have someone who will occasionally slip some bread into your pack, or like someone who will like raise funds for you while you're gone. Not an official travels with you companion, but someone who aligns themselves with the goals of the main character, right? And there could be a scene where like they sit down and talk and discuss, and that's when they decide to be on their side, or that's when they decide to stop helping, or that's when they decide to go do their own thing, or that's when they decide finally to stop being someone in the shadows and then become a proper like adventurous with your companion. But keep in mind, as I blind myself with my damn phone, but keep in mind, it's not as though someone who stays behind and drums up funds for you is of less importance than the person who will adventure there with you, nor is the person who will adventure there with you of more worth than the person who will stand back and just raise funds for you in this location. They're doing, they can't do everything, but they're doing what they can, if you get what I'm saying there. Because they're complete characters with their own thoughts, feelings, motivations, abilities, and restrictions. They're acting within them in the story, of course, and fulfilling their roles as best as they can because they want to. Because the main character did something to win them over or whatever. But keep in mind, they also have their own opinions on the shit the main character does and stuff like that. You get what I'm trying to say here. Point is, you can do a lot more with companions than just have them be people who adventure alongside with you, and they can have actual importance and bearing on the things that take place within your plot, because they would. Hell, maybe your main character isn't the one that steps up and releases this dangerous creature from the cage, but instead it could be the empathetic side character who releases them, and it can still be a good thing because they would presumably, this large monster, be a part of an ecosystem that relies on their presence. If you'd like more examples of that, watch Sawyer Lee's videos on the Dragon Slayer Codex. So I'm gonna pull up their channel because there's one video in particular I'm thinking of. Will I do streams? Alright, I don't really watch streams. I'll watch the VOD later though. Uh, One of these examples I'm thinking of is the Gaping Kiln Neck, if I remember correctly, alongside and this one's a really good example of this, uh, The Great Kingsbane, the video Biology of a Cannibal Dragon by Sawyer Lee. That's a really good example of the thing I just said. If you're curious why I called it the thing I just said instead of rating my points, because I forgot what I said. But I'm sure it's a good example still. But not I think that's all I can say for that, so I'm gonna move on. Nobles. Both in the sense of the main character being a noble, and both in the sense of the main character needing to fuck around with nobles. How do you have good win-loss connections with nobles? This goes hand in hand with reputation, so it's right beneath nobles. But, like I said earlier, nobles are people with large amounts of resources, both in terms of money, land, and connections. It is absolutely a lost condition. To also keep in mind, lost condition Win condition doesn't sound like it, but loss condition sounds like an absolute, sounds like a serious. I should have said this at the start. Loss condition sounds like it's the end all be all. You can still lose and keep going. Like I said with Kingdoms, there's a certain amount of ins you can lose, but you can still lose an in. Despite how my gameplay will have you thinking with how much I scramble to save those things. You can lose and still continue. You can lose a little bit. It's fine to lose a little bit in the story. But, right, that's good to mention with a noble. I don't know why I said but. I didn't actually have a continuing thought there. I don't think. Uh, with the nobles, right? You can. The lost condition is making one hate you because obviously that would like fuck up your main character's day. They can still like continue on with their goals, however. It will just be significantly harder because they've incurred the wrath of a noble. How much wrath they actually care about exacting is up to the story, it's up to the nobles, up to the other, yada yada yada. Point being, if examples of what happens after you incur the wrath of the noble is, drumroll please, I don't know if that picked up, price gouging. So, say they need to go buy a meal, it's pricier. Say they need a room to spend the night in, it's pricier. Say they need say they need to restock before they go out. Bandages, tinctures, ointment, spare set of clothes, sharpening their weapons, stuff like that. Price is higher. Even if it's a minor amount, this stuff adds up. Adventuring takes a budget. Again, considering this from the perspective of you're writing fantasy, because I read a lot of fantasy and I write a lot of fantasy. Uh, Adventuring takes a good budget. And if you suddenly can't afford the shit you needed, even though you mathed it out ahead of time because someone doesn't like you, and they make that very known that they don't like you, and that makes shopkeepers not sell to you at adequate prices, then you're gonna have to start cutting corners, which will fuck you up later down the line. Sure, it was the lack of bandages that made this scene really heavy, really impactful, a really good moment to advance their arc because of the hardships they endured, caused by incurring the wrath of the noble, which made them not be able to afford all the things they needed. So they decided, I think I can do without the bandages for this one night, and so on and so forth. And of course, the win condition being the inverse, and the different flavors between shades of gray and all that. But keep in mind, that is technically a win-loss condition. Staying the night in a noble's house is dangerous not because you might get shivved in your sleep, cough, cough, ancestor, cough, cough, but because, what was I saying? Who fucking knows? Reputation. What the fuck was I saying? Reputation is very clear cut, and then the difference is basically just a more applied nobles, but instead with either any other character you want or even the town as a whole. If the town as a whole doesn't like you, hell, they might fucking exile you. That's not good now, is it? But otherwise, you'll get the same things. You might get mugged. Price gouging, of course. Barred from certain locations. Barred from the bar. How truly tragic. Harassed at the street. You're the first suspect for whatever fell omens may befall the town. Stuff like that. And of course, the inverse for like positive, but I like focusing on the negative a lot more. I don't know why, I just do. More I think about it, more I realize I don't know what the fuck I put death on here. It's pretty clear cut, obvious. Like, yeah, that's a lost condition. That usually just goes with combat, though. Though I guess death could still come be a lost condition for dialogue, such as desperately pleading for safety for the night with the known quotient of werewolves in the area or vampires in the area or shit like that. It's like, please let me in your fucking home. Please let me in your fucking home. I swear I'm not one of those fucking ticks. I hate vampires and I want them all dead. And then, more than death, a lost condition is vampirism. Modern stories have clouded your brain with thinking vampirism's a good thing. An entire portion of the day, the entire portion of the day, you can't do shit about. You will live forever, which everyone knows is a curse by now. You cannot eat anything but the lifeblood of someone else. A bunch of other bullshit that I don't like. I also don't like the shit they can do, like thralls. That's upsetting, and I want them dead because of that. Vampirism is a curse, though. And then there's a bunch of other like folklore stuff, but I cannot remember it. I usually have a checklist, but I can't fucking think right now. Point is, there's obviously death, right? And then there's shit like other aside from death, like losing a limb. Cue someone being like, "Ha, that's just my everyday life," and then the camera pans out and it shows that they're missing both their legs, and the scene is intended to be like serious, but it's kind of funny anyway. Uh, Point is, right? Combat, of course. More than death. Being exiled is pretty extreme. Losing limbs, losing an eye, losing an entire sense. Maybe you get cursed and you can no longer hear. Stuff like that. Getting mugged. Already covered information. Money. Getting mugged. So, this is when actually bonus objectives do come into play. What's a bonus objective related to money? Say you're a bounty hunter. Bring them in alive and you get more money. Say you're an adventurer and now you're bargaining for a higher cut or bargaining for a higher reward as a whole. Say you are a noble, and to smooth things over with a fellow noble, you need to give them a tract of land. Should have been called wealth as a whole, or like resources, but money is just easier to type and understand. Money makes the world go round, loyalty to coin exists even now, stuff like that. Point making here. Money is a good thing to base a win-loss condition off of. Prize money, getting mugged. Becoming a homeowner, becoming homeless, things like that. I'm just gonna wrap up with fucking. Obviously, I'm like not giving these their dues, but I think I said stuff for this earlier, and also I want to go to bed. Uh, Safety. This is like a keep. I put this in because I really like it when characters have like a base operations that you see grow over time. Um, Maintaining that, allowing that to grow, so funds to go towards the keep and things of that nature. Or, having your keep be besieged, or having it be attacked, or rats in the basement, I don't fucking know. Point is, you can threaten the characters' homes, or you can improve the characters' homes as important parts of the plot. Hell, a story I'm doing is related entirely around basically the main character's house. And I've been having actually a really good time with it so far. I'm only 6,000 words in, and I'm not even past what the first potential chapter could be. But like, holy fuck, I'm having such a good time with it. And I can't wait to like actually like write out the plot points I really want to do. Cause oh my god, it's gonna be great. Um, I don't really know what else to say for here, so I think that's a video. That's a video done. I'm gonna review this in the morning. I'm gonna hate like how weird I've been throughout this video, but I'm sick. I'm fucking tired. Apparently, I'm also an asshole right now. I want to punch the wall too. That's just unrelated. Um, Fix your fucking posture real quick. Check your posture. Make sure you're not shrimping. Ooh, hot damn, that was a good crack. See you freaks. Let me know if you have any more video ideas for me to do because I am swiftly running out and give feedback on shit. Thank you kindly. Have a good one. Hope this is helpful. All that.